I'm at the best and worst rated Premier League stadium, but are these reviews actually true?
And there's one rule for this video. For both stadiums, I have to leave a brutally honest review rating these 3 categories. I'm doing all of this to answer the question, is the best rated stadium actually that much better than the worst rated? But let's start the video on a high with the 5-star stadium, which is of course the
Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Damn, that looks really nice. And Scott seems to agree.
Because he wrote, "Come on you Spurs. Honestly, favorite place on earth was me and my missus' 20th anniversary, but couldn't miss a home game. Even got to see a win. Stuff nice as always, seats so comfy."
I hope you slept well in that doghouse, Scott, but next time maybe use a few commas. David said,
"Mind-blowing facilities. The staff were very friendly, helpful, and welcoming. Food and drinks inside were reasonably priced and good quality. Just need investment in a squad to compete consistently at the highest level."
Another David said,
"Amazing stadium. Shame about the way the team is playing."
"I think we're starting to see a pattern here, Spurs."
"One of the greatest experiences of my life. A lot of great food choices, a nice view. I really respect Spurs for having trophies."
Thon, thanks for the review, but are you sure you were at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium?
And this was Jig's review, and
Jig, that selfie's making me excited. Let's go in.
after going through what felt like Heathrow Airport security, I couldn't stop thinking about all the nice staff reviews, so I decided to put it to the test. Unfortunately, the mic cut out here, but I asked this security to do 2 things. "Where's the toilet?" To which he said, "It's literally right there." The second question, "What is Ronaldo's favorite tea?" To which he said, "I don't know," and I said penalty. He was actually so kind and he even laughed.
Definitely friendly. Definitely friendly.
With that now settled, I walked into the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which like all the reviews said, did look insane. We made our way to the seats
As
and
far as seats go, against the job done, I guess it's alright.
but what amazed me was how close we felt to the pitch, even though we were quite literally at the very back of the stadium. And trust me, this view was amazing compared to the 1-star stadium, but we'll get to that a bit later. With a Europa League match about to kick off, it was time to put all these atmosphere reviews to the test. I wasn't surprised when they started with a light show considering how modern this stadium was. And after the Europa League anthem, which I personally think is miles clear of the UCL anthem, the entire stadium sang Tottenham's iconic song. But I'm not gonna lie to you, the fans were pretty quiet for the majority of the game.
Fans get the loudest when they scream they want Levy out. This is crazy.
It didn't help the Spurs are having a pretty bad season, but there were many empty seats around the stadium too. And the game was not the most exciting either, as you can tell by looking at my cameraman.
This is crazy. That little chunk of people that are making more noise than the entire Spurs stadium.
According to Tony Lister, the stadium pies at Spurs is the best stadium pie he's ever had, so we gotta give it a try. Are you out of pies?
Yeah.
Like sold out?
Check down there. Double check down there. Down there, maybe. What price you got?
Just whatever pie?
Just the price there. It's sold out. A lot of them. So.
There's no way the pie's sold out. I gotta check this review, bro.
Good one.
He's going. Yo! Last one! We got the last pie. Alright, we got the last pie in the stadium. Apparently it's the best ever stadium pies. That's actually really good. That's class.
Thankfully, the game got a bit more exciting in the second half, and by that I mean we finally witnessed some goals.
It took Spurs 70 minutes to score against the Swedish side, but they have done it. All the fans are now standing and celebrating.
Spurs ended up winning 3-0, so now it's time for the review. The food was spectacular and the stadium is extremely well made. Like, I was literally sitting at the very back of the stadium, but my view was insane. But the only problem was the atmosphere, which I think is a pretty big problem. Now, I know this was just a Europa League group stage match, but you could just tell that the fans weren't that happy with the way the team was playing. And my cameraman did fall asleep for a reason, so honestly, I'm gonna give it 2 stars. So this brings the grand total of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium rating to a 10 out of 15. Let's see if the lowest rated Premier League stadium can beat this score. So we headed to a different part of London. We're at
Selhurst Park, the home of Crystal Palace, and at first glance, it looks very different from Tottenham Stadium.
Just a quick disclaimer, this stadium isn't exactly rated 1 star on Google, but it was the worst rated Prem stadium. And it had an unholy number of 1-star reviews such as
Sam, who said,
"It's like going back in time when you step in there. This stadium wouldn't look out of place in 1902. If you're in the Arthur Waite stand, you're better off going to the pub and watching the game. At least there you can see the whole pitch.
Should we just head to the pub now? Because we're literally sitting in the Arthur Waite stand. Michael's review doesn't make me feel any better either.
Without a doubt, the worst stadium I've been to. Overhead gantry blocks a third of your view. Seats falling apart and the halftime pie was vile.
The pub option's sounding really good right now. Umut's review said,
I can't lie, Crystal Palace is bad, Arsenal's better. We got second unlike you, mate. Shush.
okay, Umut. Peter said,
Haven't been to a football match in years. 1 star.
that sounds like a you problem rather than a Sellers Park problem.
Will also said you should definitely like this video right now. Oh wait, this wasn't a review, but you should still do it.
But Nicola definitely had issues with the stadium.
Firstly, walking through the most ridiculously narrow turnstiles was not fun, and I'm a little size 8 person. The food was salty and inedible. I will not return to this stadium 1 star.
On that note, let's go to the turnstiles.
And on our way to the gate, you won't believe it, but because the stadium is so small, we saw some of the Palace players just rocking up. I met Eze as well as Mateta.
That's something that would never happen at a corporate stadium like Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. A little bit of a side note, one very obvious difference between the Tottenham Stadium. Okay, you've got the club shop right there. If you look over here, they have a freaking supermarket in the stadium. Huh? Looks like an old hospital or something. Here we go, we're heading into the famous Arthur Waite stand. I hope I fit. Ceiling looks pretty low, I'm a bit scared. I hope I can see the actual game, eh? And thank you again, shout out to SoRare for giving us these tickets.
After squeezing my way into the stadium,
It's a tight squeeze.
it was time to put some food reviews to the test. Hugh said, genuinely worst pie I've ever had. Did someone put throw up in it? Chris said, absolutely disgusting burger. I don't know how you can mess up a simple cheeseburger so badly. It tasted absolutely gross. It was also burnt. Wrapped in 3 layers of foil for some reason. 1 star. So on that note,
It's wrapped in just 1 layer of foil, which is a good start. A simple cheeseburger. Let's see if it's gross. It definitely isn't burnt. The cheese is melted nicely, and there's like a bit of it looks a bit rotten, the lettuce. It's like a 5 out of 10, but I wouldn't go as far as saying gross, but it is not great. Okay, according to Dale, this halftime pie is actually vile. And we had a really good one at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, so let's give this a go. Oh. That's actually awful. I don't like that at all. I actually really don't like that. It's like a 2 out of 10. Dale's right.
unlike the pie, the vibes at the stadium were getting good. And it was time for me to put all the 1-star reviews about the bad view of the Arthur Waite stand to the test.
This is a shocking view. Pan the camera.
But luckily for us, SoRare made sure.
This is a pretty good view, I can't lie. So Sam and Michael, I think you guys were just a bit unlucky.
And although the seats were definitely older than the Spurs stadium, the legroom wasn't that bad like Michael said. Or I might just be smaller than average. As the players walked out, it wasn't a modern light show like at Spurs. But all the fans were singing the Crystal Palace song and these flames were so close. Then it was time for kickoff. Yes, we're sitting much closer than at Spurs, but because of how small Sellers Park is, we felt very, very close to all the action. Then Palace did this from a corner, but it got rolled out by VAR. And literally minutes later, Everton's Beto scored and the away Everton fans went crazy. At halftime, Palace brought on Eze, who we literally just met a few hours ago. And Palace immediately scored. And the atmosphere of the stadium went crazy when everyone found out that it was Mateta who had scored. And then they also went crazy for a different reason when VAR got involved. The goal did stand and Palace started to cook.
The game is moving on. So is
But in the 80th minute, Everton scored to win the game 2-1. But luckily for Crystal Palace, not that the club's gonna give a single damn about my rating, the result or the score of the game does not matter when it comes to making my final review. That being said, the food was awful, like genuinely abysmal. And if you sit at the back of the Arthur Waite stand, you're literally watching half a football game. But my seats were pretty fantastic. I was really close, so to be fair, I'm giving it 3 stars. And lastly, the atmosphere. I actually do think it was miles clear of Spurs. I know that the Spurs game I went to was a Europa League group stage game, but it just felt like the Palace fans cared more. I'm giving the atmosphere at Sellers Park a rating of 4.5, bringing the grand total to 8.5 out of 15. If you like this video, we've made it a mission to post a new football video every single week, so please make sure to subscribe and like this video. We're brand new YouTubers trying to create a football community called Footebate here, so every single one of you, your support means so much. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next week.